welcome to Baking with Sherry. For my country, I picked Australia, and Australia is similar to America in that a lot of its food dishes come from or are influenced by a lot of other countries, in particular Great Britain and just Europe in general and Asia. So the dessert I will be making is called Pavlova, and it's an Australian dessert, although it's arguably a New Zealand dessert. They'll both claim it as their own, and even other countries also claim it as their own. But to describe Pavlova, it's a meringue-based crust with usually a whipped topping. In my case, I'm going to be using a lemon custard, and then it's topped with the fruit of choice. So to describe the meringue-based crust, you use superfine sugar, vinegar, cornstarch, and egg whites. And for the lemon custard, I will be using unsalted butter, a heavy whipping cream, more sugar, and lemon juice as well as the zest from these lemons. And I chose strawberries and blackberries to top it with, but in general in Australia they typically use passion fruit, kiwis, and strawberries. So to start, you want to preheat the oven to 300 degrees. And when you are doing this, you want to put it in the middle rack. Alright, so you want to use parchment paper. And what you're going to do lay out the parchment paper. And you're going to be tracing a circle about 7 inches, but to make it easier, you can use a bowl of some sort. In this case, I'm going to use the KitchenAid bowl and trace a circle around it. And the whole purpose of this is that when you're done making the meringue, you're going to place it in the circle so that it forms the right shape. So to start for the meringue, you're going to mix 1 cup superfine sugar, and 1 tablespoon cornstarch. And then when you have these ingredients in the bowl, whisk it together. And we're just going to place this off to the side to use in a bit. So the first thing I'll do is use the eggs. You need to use the egg whites, and it's important that they're at room temperature. That takes about 30 minutes or so. So I don't actually have an egg yolk catcher, so I'm going to do this the old-fashioned way, which takes a bit of time. And what's awesome about this recipe is you don't actually have to throw out the egg yolks because you're going to use that for the custard. So next what I'll be doing is mixing the egg whites I prepared into an electric mixer. I do recommend you don't have to use an electric mixer, but this part takes a lot of time. It's very tedious. And then I will be putting in 1 pinch of salt, and what you're going to do is mix it on low to medium until it forms soft peaks. So while we are waiting on the egg whites to form soft peaks, because it takes some time, I'll discuss the history of how Pavlova got its name. And it was actually named after the Russian ballerina Anna Pavlova. It's said that it was named this shortly after her tour visiting Australia in the 1920s. She stayed at the Hotel Esplanade in Perth, Western Australia. This dessert was often served during afternoon tea. And during her stay at the hotel, it was during this time that the chef was indulging in the dessert, and he exclaimed that this dessert was as light as Pavlova, and hence how Pavlova got its name from the Anna Pavlova. And now it looks like the soft peaks have formed. This is about what it should look like. So you know you have a soft peak when you can lift it up. And here you go. You see the soft peak. It stays a little bit. And then when you get to this point, you're going to add the water, and don't be alarmed, the water, it's gotta be cold, by the way, 3 tablespoons, is gonna break up this, but you're mixing it again until it gets those soft peaks. And now the soft peaks have formed, and as you can see, this is what it will look like. So now you're going to grab that sugar mixture you made in the beginning with the cornstarch, and as it's mixing, you're going to be adding it tablespoon by tablespoon. So you can get this going again. And you shovel it in, tablespoon by tablespoon. And it's a very slow and tedious process, but we're going to do this again until there's stiff peaks this time. When you're done adding all the sugar, you're going to beat for 1 additional minute. And the next step will be adding your distilled white vinegar. You add 1 teaspoon of it. And what you're going to be doing is allowing it to mix again until it forms stiff peaks, and it has to appear glossy, and this process takes about 5 minutes. So after you've added your vinegar, this is what it should look like. This took about 5 minutes as expected. You can see the hard peaks forming, but definitely you can see that glossiness. Alright, so now we're going back to the circle you created in the beginning. I flipped it over actually, just to not have the lid from the pencil in there. You're going to use the circle as a reference and pour in your meringue. And once you get all the meringue in there, what you're going to do is spread it to fill the circle. So you'll be using the middle and making it more concave and pushing the meringue to the outside to form the crust. So once you have it formed, you will put it in the oven. And like I said, middle rack. And you're gonna allow it to cook for 1 hour until it's a pale golden color. So while the meringue is baking, we're gonna go ahead and start making the custard. And what I put in this saucepan is 2/3 cup granulated sugar, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, and 1/8 teaspoon of salt. And you just mix that up together really quick. And now what I've added to the saucepan is 1/2 stick butter and my 1/3 cup of lemon juice from the lemons, freshly squeezed. And then you just start mixing that together really slowly. Once you've added the 1/2 stick butter and the lemon juice, you move it up to medium heat and you're going to whisk for about 1 minute as you see the sugar dissolve. So when that is whisked, you're going to whisk together your egg yolks. Those are from earlier when we were using the egg whites. And when those are whisked up, I'm going to take about 1/4 cup of this. Add it into the egg yolk. Mix that mixture together. And go ahead and add that back into your lemon mixture. And start whisking that. And now that we've been mixing, we've formed our custard. As you can see, it's nice and thick. And now we're going to add the lemon zest. This is 2 teaspoons worth. And then just mix that in. And I've turned off the heat, cut it off for a little bit, but you'll want to remove it from the heat while you add in the zest. And once you've added the zest in, you're going to move it into a separate bowl and go ahead and put it in the fridge to cool. And while our meringue crust is cooling, we're going to go ahead and start with a heavy whipping cream, which you'll get 1 cup of. And we're going to beat this until it also holds stiff peaks. And our meringue crust has been done for a while, and I've kept this oven propped open like you're supposed to for 45 minutes to cool. Let's go ahead and take a peek at it. So now what we have here is the custard that we took out of the fridge. It's been cooling for some time. And then here is the heavy cream whipped up. And there we have, you can see that it's formed the stiff peaks. And now we're going to take 1/4 cup of this and you're going to put it into the custard. And now for the very last step, we have our meringue crust, our lemon custard, and the berries to top it off with. Go ahead and spread the custard onto the meringue. And once you've spread your custard on top of the meringue, you can start topping it with the berries. And I hope you enjoyed learning how to make pavlova, and give it a try yourself.